When you play the Game of Thrones, you
subscribe and like,
or you die. There is no middle ground.
Alright, hello YouTube, and welcome back to the Grease Goblins channel. In today's video, we are going to be doing another top 10. This one is going to be on the top 10. It was the person that commented this wanted to be the swordsman. I'm going to do the top 10 fighters. So that means with spear or other things like a long sword, not just, eliminating down to just the best swordsman. So this is easily the hardest top 10 I think I've done. With the other ones, it was a lot about who would be at the top, not really who would be on the list. Because this video, I started with a list of 20 characters that I believed were very good swordsmen. And the swordsmen that I had, and warriors in general, that I had thought about were all very competent and very good. And this is just a list of the current characters within the story. So you have to be alive during the story. So people like Arthur Dayne, I don't believe he is alive, so I didn't have him in this list. But if you do have him alive still and you believe in certain theories, he would be on this list. But you'll see as I go on what I mean, and I'll try to explain it the best I can. So with that being said, if you want to see more content like this from me and more top 10s, let me know down in the comments. Subscribe, like, and comment for more of these videos, and let's get into it. So I have a few honorable mentions before we get into this one. And yeah, so my first honorable mention is going to be Garland Tyrell. Now, I didn't put Garland in this video as on the list because I feel like we don't know enough about Garland to put him in the top 10. We know a lot of the things we know about Garland Tyrell, about how good he is with a sword and stuff like that, is from his brother Loras, as well as the Tyrell house in general, which could be coming off as a very biased source. But it is said he trains against 3 different, guys, which is very impressive. He, in the Battle of the Blackwater, has some very impressive, wins over certain people. And overall, Loras himself says that, he is a better swordsman than I am. So those are all big feats. So I do give Garland the benefit of the doubt, and I decided to put him in this list, just in the honorable mentions. I also did want to say, before I go any further in this video, this is a very controversial video just because there's so many people you can put on this list. So let me know what your guys' are before I say any more on mine. Because I feel like the top 10, you can almost arrange in almost any order. And I think there's going to be a couple of surprises in here for you guys that maybe you will forget from the earlier books or whatnot. So another honorable mention, we have Victarion. So Victarion is described as always being a very good military guy. He's really good at, combat. That's really what Victarion lives for. We see in a couple POV chapters how really skilled he is with his, axe. And he's just a really good character. I just think there's other characters on this list that would best him in a 1v1 type situation. And that's why he's on this honorable mentions list. Very competent. And I wouldn't even mind if you guys put him in the top 10. I definitely could see it. This other one's more on potential because we don't see them for very long, but Syrio Forel. We know First Sword of Braavos. I even have a theory, a theory from someone else, but a theory I believe in, that he was actually the First Sword of Braavos when Dany goes there with the Red Door thing. If you haven't seen that video, I did a theory on that. But I believe Syrio is he's definitely a very competent fighter. Seeing what we saw from, when Arya was, they were trying to capture Arya, very competent. It would be interesting to see if we ever saw him with an actual sword, what could have been, and how competent he could have been. But just because we don't know that information, I can't really put him above some of these characters that we know more about and we know how skilled they are. The last honorable mention I would like to throw on here is Bronn. Bronn is a character that we've seen him in, a few different fights, very competent fighter, able to win the trial by combat for Tyrion and the Eyrie. So definitely a really, really big character. And I think he definitely deserves to be in the honorable mentions, but not in the top 10. I don't think he would be able to best any of the characters above him, or above on this list, but I definitely wanted to shout him out in this video. A couple other characters I want to shout out just real quick. Not going to talk about them too much. Grey Worm, Daario, Jorah, all competent fighters. Just didn't think they were on the top 10 level as some of these other characters. So starting the top 10, I have Jon Snow. We've seen his prowess as a swordsman repeatedly alongside, defending the wall, going north, training, you know, Knights of the Watchmen and stuff like that. Very good fighter. I have him this low because of another character that is going to be on this list, and we know from Jon's point of view that he believes his character was better than him. So Jon does end up being number 10. Number 9, Khal Drogo, the man who never lost a battle and died because Dany, really, but dies because of, you know, basically this lady basically infecting him, you know, and screwing him over. So Khal Drogo is someone that had to be on this list because he is just an unstoppable force. He's a mountain of a guy. Like, we were told this repeatedly. He, again, never loses a battle. This could be, you know, due to his large numbers and stuff, but we know how good he is in a 1v1 scenario. And I think he deserved to be just above Jon because I think Khal Drogo would overwhelm Jon. I know Jon's fought people bigger than him, but I think Khal Drogo, he's almost like a mountain type figure where he's really big, he's really fast, and I think he just deserves to be on this list. Let me know if you think Khal should be on here. But yeah. Number 8. So Qhorin Halfhand is number 8. He is described as being one of the better swordsmen in Westeros. Not, you know, as much as some of the other characters that are fabled, like Barristan and stuff like that. But Jon himself says when they are fighting, it's like a fake fight, basically, that the half-hand, if he wanted to, would have easily killed Jon. So that is the reason I think Jon's a little lower on this list, and then Qhorin Halfhand is a little higher. I just couldn't see putting the Halfhand above any of the other people on this list, but definitely deserved to be on this list, and someone that you guys might have forgotten about. Number 7. Number 7 is going to be the Hound. Now, the Hound, like his brother the Mountain, is a really big dude. Uses more of his brute strength mixed with a weird quickness for such a big person to really be as effective as he can be. And I think the Hound, we see him so many times with Arya and Tales, other things, that the Hound definitely is a very good and great swordsman within A Song of Ice and Fire. And moving on, we have number 6. So we have Brienne here, and ironically, I didn't even think about it, but in the show, you have the fight with Brienne and the Hound, and Brienne wins. This doesn't happen in the books. I do think, though, that Brienne would win in a 1v1 between the two. Let me know what you guys think about that. I think Brienne would win that scenario, which is why she's a little higher. And I think Brienne, we see her beating Jaime. Now, the thing with Jaime was Jaime hadn't used a sword in a while. He had been probably malnourished a little bit, you know, not terribly. But again, and he hadn't been like he'd been active, right, with a sword for a while. So I don't feel like that fight was fair to say that Brienne was better than Jaime in any capacity. But again, Brienne, a very good swordsman. We see this repeatedly. She's able to beat, you know, Loras in a melee. Really good job of really being the best woman fighter in A Song of Ice and Fire. So yeah. All right. Number 5, we have the Mountain. The Mountain is just someone that is built different. He's like the Hound, but bigger. You know, he's super tall. One of the tallest dudes, like, probably in the entire book, or books. But then he's also quick. You know, we see this from Bronn, where Bronn's kind of describing the Mountain and why he won't fight for Tyrion. Because one wrong step and you're gone. The Mountain will kill you. There's no escaping. And that's something that I think is really remarkable when we talk about the next character above, is that the Mountain definitely deserved to be on this list just off of pure, just brute strength and talent as well. And coming in at number 4, we have Oberyn, the Red Viper. Oberyn beats the Mountain in single combat, except for Oberyn showboated a little bit and wanted to get some justice for his sister. But in reality, he did end up beating the Mountain. It's just the Mountain got lucky that Oberyn was being stupid. But in reality, Oberyn was one of the most competent fighters in the entire books at the time the story is going and stuff like that. We're told this repeatedly. He's a very dangerous character. His use of poisons on his spear makes him extremely dangerous, as the Mountain found out. But yeah, those are the reasons I believe Oberyn should be at number 4. Let me know if you think he should be higher or lower. And number 3, we have Robert Baratheon. So again, like I said, Robert Baratheon is alive when the story starts. So I decided to include Robert Baratheon in here, and he was definitely one of the strongest and just brute strength guys. You know, he kills Rhaegar Targaryen on the Trident, kills a number of others as he leads his, you know, war efforts in Robert's Rebellion. Described as one of the best warriors ever, and I would say Robert Baratheon's more of a good warrior than he ever was a military commander, as I said that in the military commander top 10, even though he is a good one. But that is my Baratheon one, short and sweet. He was a massively built dude, as well as his warhammer was very difficult to deal with from a lot of characters. Number 2, we have Jaime. So this might surprise some of you that he's not number 1, but Jaime, don't get me wrong, I think Jaime Lannister at the time of the story, when the story starts in the books, I think Jaime is the best fighter in Westeros. I think there's a couple people that would have given him a run for his money, like Oberyn, like the Mountain, like Brienne, the Hound, all these people. Definitely would have given him a run for his money, but I think Jaime would have won. I think he was so elegant, the way he would use a sword, as was described, or his tactics, the way he used a sword. The sword was just part of his arm, it almost felt like. And that's why it was so big when his hand, you know, gets cut off. But Jaime, I think, deserves to be number 2. Now, I'm going to say who number 1 is so I can, you know, give some more reasoning for why Jaime's number 2. But number 1 is Barristan the Bold. In Barristan's time, when, you know, he was in his prime, Barristan, I think, is the best swordsman probably of all of A Song of Ice and Fire. I think you can make an argument there, but Barristan is probably the most decorated swordsman of all time. There might be a few others, but I think Barristan in a 1v1 with Jaime in his prime, I believe Barristan would have won. That might be a hot take. Not sure what you guys think on that one, but that is my top 10 for swordsmen. Let me know if I forgot somebody. If you think there's somebody on this list that should have been higher, someone that's not even on this list that should have been in there, let me know what you guys think. But I definitely think Barristan the Bold, my guy, number 1.
If you think this has a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention.